The story begins with a battle 3 years ago in the midst of the oceans. The captain of the Navy boat on patrol says their weapons can't cause any damage to the mysterious being they were attacking. Meanwhile, low-level hunters came around to fight back, but they were defeated. Considering the current situation, S-rank hunters came to their rescue. First, it was Byung-gu, an S-rank healer. He was able to rescue the leader of the low-level squad. Before he was done, another monster aimed at him from behind, but his other comrade came to his rescue. They fought the monster bit by bit as they showed forth according to their level of might, while Byung-gu looked after the wounded. Over 10 years ago, a series of gates began appearing in the human world. The other side of these gates is filled with monster creatures called magic beasts. These beasts are immune to conventional weaponry. Those who are capable of fighting back are the ones who have awakened their abilities, and they are called hunters. These hunters are ranked from S to E rank. These rankings are based on the amount of magical power contained in their bodies. However, once these powers have awakened, no amount of individual effort can ever result in greater strength. To the present day, at the Hunter's Park, it's another day for raiding either a dungeon or a cave. It's called a raid outing, and every hunter is all set and present. Mr. Park, a friend of Mr. Kim who quit hunting after his wife got pregnant with their second kid, resumes that day. Kim is surprised to see Mr. Park. Jinwoo also walks in, and everyone greets him. Even Kim says hello to him, which baffles his friend. Kim explains to him that he joined up after he quit. Jinwoo is the weakest hunter of all mankind because an ordinary trip through an E-rank gate landed him in the hospital. Kim never wanted him to overhear his discussion with his friend, but Jinwoo already heard them. On his way, a girl named Juhi interrupted his walk. She was concerned about the wound on Jinwoo's face and advised him to be more careful. They both went to a settled environment to discuss the E-rank gate raid that led him to the hospital. Jinwoo accepted that he is weak. He also told Juhi that he's used to it so that she won't be worried about him all the time. The raid outing leader convenes everyone in one place for better access and introduction. He introduced himself as Song Chio, the most skilled in the squad. The gate opened for everyone to go in. As Jinwoo was about to head in, Kim tapped him from behind and warned him to be careful so he won't get injured again. Juhi left for the raid, and she promised to give it her best. Jinwoo also wants to give it his best, but he only had a knife with him, a knife with no magical power, though that's what he could afford. With that knife, he enters the gate confidently, promising himself to be impressive at the raid outing. Elsewhere, Chairman Go just finished a meeting with the administrators. Their talking point is their usual discussion. For hunters, breaking dungeons poses problems, but the administration wants the valuable items obtained from the beasts in the dungeon. The only valuable items they obtained are shining silver stones. Chairman Go finds their demand logically sensible because the only means for hunters to make a living is by selling those items retrieved from the dungeons they raid. Jinwoo fights impressively in the raid outing, and he's able to obtain one precious silver stone. He is surprised to see his achievement, but suddenly he is attacked from behind. He fights the beast back, but his low-level knife cracks and breaks. Mr. Park comes to his rescue, but before then, he has been injured. Juhi rushes towards his direction to heal him with her healing ability. We then learn that the items retrieved from high-ranked beasts in the dungeons can be turned into powerful weapons and gear to fight other beasts. As noticed by Chairman Go, mana crystals that can be collected from the dungeons have a similar application, but are less potent, clearly stating that the government's interest in the item is for a different use. The governments are working on a way to generate electricity using essence stones and mana crystals. They want to make it a new power source. These items are safer than nuclear, more efficient than water, wind, or geothermal, and they also don't pollute the atmosphere like fossil fuels. This method is a rare fuel source that only hunters are able to collect. Chairman Go explained to his companion that the duty that now rests on the hunter's shoulders is a great one, and they need to get themselves prepared. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, the hunters celebrate after defeating the dungeon boss while Jinwoo is still receiving treatment from Juhi. Juhi was worried about Jinwoo. She wanted him to leave the life of a hunter because if not, something worse might happen. Jinwoo feels sorry and tries to apologize, but she refuses and advises him to quit the life of a hunter. She tries to make him know that she's worried about him. The leader of the raid, Mr. Song, discusses with the squad to collect their loot. Mr. Park was told by other hunters that there's not much mana crystals in that dungeon, which symbolizes low earnings for them. Jinwoo has already lost his hope because all he could show for his work is an E-rank essence stone. While he was thinking, one of the hunters calls the attention of others to a cave. The cave seems deep and far. Mr. Song was concerned to see a dungeon inside a dungeon. Seeing a double dungeon could lead to more loot for the hunters, but Mr. Song wants to follow the procedure, which is to wait for the decision of the Hunter Association. Mr. Park disagrees and suggests that they go inside since it's a D-rank dungeon. His friend Kim supports him. Mr. Song explains to them that he understands how they feel, but if they bend the rules, they need to know that it'll be a risk. Therefore, they should vote to know the opinions. They cast the vote, and the result was awful, with 6 against 6. The only hunter left to cast his vote is Jinwoo. He was asked his opinion, and then he thinks widely to know the best choice for him. His focus is the money he is going to earn, and it's because of his missing dad. He is the only one who is supporting his family. He needs money for his mother's treatment and to send his sister to college. He had no choice but to accept the challenge, even though a D-rank dungeon is dangerous for him. Elsewhere, the guild house responsible for accessing hunters is in need of high-ranked hunters. Some hunters were allowed access. 1 B-rank and 2 C-rank hunters agreed to sign the contract. Guildmaster Choi is the head of the guild house, and he was contacted with the results of the assessment. Initially, the guild is in search of someone to match Cha Hien, but no one could be compared to her. Cha Hien is an S-rank hunter with high skills and strength. 2 men on a bike grab a lady's bag and snatch it from her. She shouts for help, but no one can rescue her. Suddenly, the 2 men on the bike spot a girl in front of them. They decide to run over her, but skillfully she collects the bag from the 2 men without any harm. She returns it to the lady. However, the citizens have heard news about her good deed and her skills, and they recognize her to be Cha Hien. Many come close to her, but she is a shy type and someone who doesn't want to be praised. She jumps in the air from one roof to another to escape the crowd. Back in the dungeon, the hunters spent 40 minutes in the second dungeon finding the actual boss, but they didn't come across anything challenging. The gate is programmed to close until an hour after the boss is beaten. Clearly, they have 20 minutes to spare. Jinwoo apologizes to Juhee because he knows his decision caused them to raid the double dungeon. Juhee was calm for a moment, but Jinwoo kept pestering her with questions. She made it clear to Jinwoo that if he had been stabbed even just a little higher, then he wouldn't be alive. She was barely able to heal his arms and legs. Jinwoo had a thought about what Juhee said. Having a B-rank healer with him has saved his life more than once. Jinwoo admitted the accusation, and Juhee requested that Jinwoo show her some gratitude. After a long walk through the cave, the hunters locate the boss chamber. Its entrance is mighty and tall, kind of intimidating to the hunters. Kim and his friend were happy with the thought that they wouldn't be going back home empty-handed, so they moved close to the gate and called Mr. Song to open the gate. Back in the city, the Hunters Association chairman, Go-Gu-hee, addresses the newly awakened who have just signed the contract of a hunter. He told them that it's been 10 years since the gate appeared, but there's still a great deal they don't know about those dungeons. He encouraged them not to let their guards down, not to be arrogant or careless. He also tells them to be afraid. Back in the dungeon, the hunters enter the chamber with confidence and bravery. As the gate is being opened, the chamber begins to light up itself, being the first thing that marvels them. The chamber is filled with huge statues. They look so old, some have instruments and are stagnant. Jinwoo stands in front of a larger statue to take a glance, but he notices the statue is more massive than the others in the chamber, and its appearance dominates the space. The hunters could not find any beasts in the chamber, but they come across strange things like a magic circle and a written ancient script. The ancient script contains the commandments of the Kartanen Temple. Mr. Song steps forward to recite the commandments. As he reaches the third point, Juhee taps Jinwoo to notify him about a strange movement of the statue. She noticed that the huge statue's eyeball was moving and watching them. She sounded scared and afraid. Mr. Song finished reading the laws. The last part states that those who don't follow the laws will not leave alive. Immediately after that sentence, the door shut itself. They wondered about the cause, but one of them, out of impatience, angrily walked towards the gate to leave, only to be slaughtered by the statue standing beside the gate. After the slaughter, they all trembled, and Jinwoo began to think. He knows that the guy who just got eliminated by the statue is a D-rank hunter, which is more powerful than him, but he got eliminated, indicating that the chamber is tougher than they think. He looked back to check the huge statue, then he got shocked when it looked right back at him. Instantly, he remembered his life story. Jinwoo has stood on the precipice of death many times before. In his first raid ever, he got separated from everyone else and ended up being stranded. He has also been attacked by an E-rank beast which made him spend weeks in the hospital. He almost starved to death in a labyrinth. No matter how low ranked the dungeons are, he always fights for his life. Most hunters were able to buy gear with the money they earned from selling essence stones so they could defeat more beasts and earn more rewards, but as for him, all he could afford was a cheap knife that could crack at any point in time. Jinwoo has endured being mocked and put up with a life-threatening job where the risk outweighs the reward. But amidst all this, he has learned to keep his eyes wide open for any opportunity, which leads him to the experiences he had. Since he knew what was about to happen, he warned other hunters to get down while the huge statue fired a powerful beam at them, causing massive destruction. The hunters are horrified and can't believe what is happening there. Jinwoo thinks that they are trapped there and realizes they are all going to die. And that's the end of the first episode of Solo Leveling. Please comment and let me know which anime recap you'd like to see next. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.